Speed weeks, now Speed Week, continues to get shorter and shorter. NASCAR confirms that rain tires will be available at some oval tracks next season, and industry experts are predicting that some NASCAR races will exclusively be available on streaming in the not-so-distant future. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. We've got a few NASCAR news stories to catch up on. If you can't tell, I'm in the process of moving, so this studio behind me is gonna look a little different in the next couple of weeks. Before we get to the news, though, this episode is sponsored by me. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Downhill DIECAST Racing returns to this channel. I will be premiering an all-new video live, so come join the live chat. Should be really fun. Cheer on your favorite drivers' diecast. I did a similar series of videos a couple years ago that were really successful, were really fun. I thought it was good and off-season content, something to get me out of the studio for once. A lot of y'all seemed to enjoy those videos a couple years ago, so we brought them back. All new Downhill Diecast Racing series begins tomorrow night, Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see y'all there. All right, it's the middle of the NASCAR off-season, but it's never too early to start directing our attention towards the season-opening Daytona 500. The Speed Week, if we can even still call it that, schedule has now been revealed. Take a look. There will be no cars on track until Cup Series qualifying on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, there's practice sessions for ARCA and trucks. But then the Cup Series will go straight into the duels, still without any practice. Both qualifying and the two qualifying races will be held without any prior track time for the NASCAR Cup Series. Friday and Saturday, the Cup Series will get full practice sessions before Sunday's Daytona 500. Look, I know no one gets that excited about Daytona practice. That's not entirely true. I remember back in the day, not all that long ago, I'd come home from school in January and preseason Thunder would be on Speed, or maybe it was FS1 by that point. Chance to see popular drivers with maybe their new teams for the first time, maybe a first look at some paint schemes, and you got to see some pack racing on a wintry January afternoon. That's gone. That's been gone. I know many of the teams weren't going to take full advantage of those practice sessions anyways. They want to, protect their equipment. I don't know. I don't get super nostalgic over a lot of things, but Speed Week and Speed Weeks are one of them. I'm just confused because back during the pandemic when practice and qualifying went away, we heard from Fox, from NBC, there were reports that the networks were pressuring NASCAR to bring those sessions back because it was content. It was more content that the networks could put on TV and sell advertising for. But then, at the end of 2022, it was hard to find every practice or qualifying session on TV. A lot of sessions were exclusively on the NBC Sports app, if they were shown at all. So I don't know. Do the networks actually value practice and qualifying? Because especially at Daytona, I think it's safe to say most of the teams don't really value it. If you're a fan camping out, it's nice to have some on-track activity. I don't know. Does anyone actually want more practice and qualifying? I do, I think. But if the networks don't really care, if the teams and drivers don't really care, maybe this is just going to be the norm, and we got to start getting used to it. I don't know. I don't want to dwell on that. This past weekend, Bozy Tatarovich tweeted out a list of which rules package will be used at each racetrack in 2023. As we scroll through this, there are a couple of things you'll notice. First, there are only 3 different types of aero packages. There's the super speedways, there's one race that'll have a dirt package, and then the rest are listed as standard. To me, that suggests there won't be any major changes to either the short track or road course aero packages. Also, when you look at the engine category, every race outside the super speedways is still listed at 670 horsepower. Now, reporter Bob Pockers from Fox Sports did tweet that NASCAR could still possibly make some tweaks to the short track and road course rules package, but any changes are TBD. I remember Steve O'Donnell, though, when he was on Corey LaJoie's Stacking Pennies podcast last month, he had this to say, quote, "There's a lot of things we've looked at in the wind tunnel that we found on the car that I think we can try for a fairly inexpensive way to go about it, particularly on the short tracks. So you'll see us most likely go test something up in Richmond, but I think there's going to be some good things. At least from what we've seen already in the wind tunnel and a lot of the sim data, it looks really good in terms of getting rid of some of the challenges that we've seen, particularly on the short tracks." So maybe some changes coming to the short tracks, but you wouldn't know it looking at that sheet of paper. You also may have noticed on that paper on that document, also in Bob Pockrass's tweet, that wet weather tires will be available at many of these short ovals next season. Not just the road courses, no, now at Richmond, Martinsville, the Clash at the Coliseum. If it rains, there's the possibility of racing on a wet, or at least a damp, racetrack. We've talked about this some in the past. It's unlikely that NASCAR would actually race during an active rain shower. But now, rather than having to wait, an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to dry some of these racetracks, you may only have to dry it for like 30 minutes. Get rid of the standing water, and then you can go race on rain tires. So perhaps shortening the length of rain delays at many more short ovals. So that's exciting news. Can you imagine it somehow rains in Phoenix in November and we have a rain race decide the champion? It could happen now. Now, speaking of potential aero changes to the next gen car at short tracks and road courses, the Garage 56 Le Mans entry continues to test this offseason. Jimmy Johnson was the latest to get behind the wheel and actually tested the car in some wet conditions at a road course. Some of these clips they posted are pretty cool. I love watching the right front tire in this one, just back and forth. Wow. Sliding across the asphalt. You can also see in some of these views some of the potential aero changes that NASCAR may implement in the Cup Series one day, possibly soon. They got those like wings or something there in the back, some crazy stuff near the front nose. Side view mirrors, do you guys see that? I doubt we're gonna see like side view mirrors in the Cup Series, but it's on this Le Mans car. Anything's possible, I suppose. Moving on though from aero packages, road courses, short tracks, we've got one more story I want to discuss. A couple days ago, Sports Business Journal's John Urand wrote out his predictions for many different series and their upcoming TV contracts, including NASCAR. He wrote what he believes NASCAR's next TV contract, which will take effect in 2025, he wrote what he thinks it will look like. Here was his prediction. NASCAR renews with Fox and NBC. Digital media companies have engaged NASCAR about its rights, but circuit executives will decide that a digital deal would put too much pressure on team sponsors that need the biggest audience available. This will remain a broadcast-heavy deal, but expect NBC to win the right to put a number of races exclusively on its Peacock streaming service. Again, that's just a prediction. That's not breaking news. That's not what's actually happening. But it is a very educated guess coming from an industry insider there. I'd believe it. NASCAR executives have explained recently that while they'd like to consider streaming in the not so distant future, they understand that all their teams and competitors sell millions of dollars worth of sponsorship deals based on the 3-4 million viewership number that NASCAR Cup races average. If NASCAR were to go exclusively to, I don't know, let's just say Peacock. If Peacock got every Cup race in 2025, NASCAR viewership would drop. I think that's safe to say. It would drop pretty significantly, especially that first year. And so now a company like FedEx, who's paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a race to sponsor Denny Hamlin, they're not getting near the same value that they would get if their car was running up front on big NBC, for example, or even USA Network. Sticking primarily with traditional television, you broadcast some cable races, that's the safest and probably the more surefire option. Now, if NBC and Fox and NASCAR lock into like another 10-year deal, and we're still talking about NBC and Fox in 2035, I worry that broadcast and cable will be completely out of date by that point. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, he does say there's still the opportunity for some races to be exclusive on Peacock, a streaming service that you have to pay an extra, I don't know, what is it, $5, $10 a month for? I do not have Peacock, so I cannot speak from personal experience. Now, John Urand's not specific there. Is it Cup races? Could it be Xfinity trucks? Maybe just practice and qualifying will be behind that Peacock paywall? We don't know, and his prediction isn't that specific, but we'll see. A couple of Cup races on Peacock here or there might be a very interesting experiment. I know there are a ton of fans who won't like the idea of having to pay for a subscription service on top of their existing cable bill. When NASCAR does make the jump to streaming, I would like them to get off of cable completely. Make it so that your viewer base does not have to pay for both services. That was kind of the issue this past season. If you wanted to watch any post-race coverage, you'd have to switch from USA Network to Peacock, which means you have to pay for two services. The point of streaming, in my opinion, is so that I don't have to pay for cable. I can drop my expensive cable bill where I'm paying for a bunch of channels I don't even care about, and I can just pay for Netflix and Disney Plus, maybe HBO, and I'll get ESPN Plus if I want to watch college sports or something, and maybe I'll pay for Peacock so I can watch every NASCAR race the second half of the season. If NASCAR's next TV deal requires its viewers to pay for both cable and streaming simultaneously, they're gonna frustrate a lot of fans. I don't know, it's a difficult situation to be put in. We'll see how NASCAR figures it out over the next 12 months or so, but that's just one person's prediction. Give me your predictions down in the comment section below. Do you think Fox and NBC will re-up? Do you think someone like an ESPN could sneak back into the picture? They've got the SRX deal now. What about Amazon? One of these other digital disruptors? Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. But that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We just passed 200,000 subscribers. Again, thank you all so much for the support. It's never too late to join the Groovy Gang, so if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that button down below. And as always, a big thank you to my Patreon supporters as well. One last reminder, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Downhill Diecast Racing returns. Be sure to tune in and support your favorite drivers at Diecast. Gonna be a crazy show, been a lot of work the last few weeks, but I think it's all gonna pay off. I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you there.